know you make me wanna shout. Look, my hands jumping, look, my heart's pumping. Throw my head back. Come on now, don't forget to say you will. Yeah, don't forget to shout. Yeah, 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 yeah. Say you will. Throw your head back, baby. Come on now, say that you love me, say that you need me, say that you want me, ain't gonna be me. Come on now, come on now, come on now. Hey,
Thanks, Tony.
well, I feel,
Charlie? 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 Charlie?
You arrived at the house. The time, Miss Turner?
About 6:30.
And did you come straight into the house?
Yes. After I'd exercised Red Rover. And when I came in...
And did you see anything unusual around the property last night?
I thought I heard a car leave, but I can't be sure.
I came as soon as I could, Peg. I'm ever so sorry, love, but what happened?
That has yet to be established. What brings you here, Mr. Greengrass?
Not to answer your daft questions, that's for certain credit. Me and Charlie were mates.
I sent for Claude. Mr. Weller said we were to let him know if anything ever happened to him.
Oh, Peg, we always knew it was always on the cards.
Bye.
Poor old Charlie, I was dreading something like this.
He wasn't in good shape.
Chronic heart trouble.
Do you know the next of kin?
Oh, yes, Martin, a nephew. He runs an insurance broker's in Ashfordley.
And, what about Peggy and Lottie?
Well, Peggy's husband died a couple of years ago, leaving nothing but debt. Charlie took them in, gave them somewhere to live, gave them a job. They're going to miss him. Bye.
Doctor says Charlie probably died of a heart attack. Time of death between 10 and 11 p.m. last night. Since he was fully dressed, I assume he was on his way to bed.
Well, there was no sign of a break-in and no disturbance in sight, huh?
Well, Mrs. Turner thinks she may have heard a vehicle leave, but she can't be sure. Right, you wrap up here, Bradley. I'll tell Ventress to contact the next of kin.
I don't want you worrying about the yard, Peggy, because I'm promising you, like I promised Charlie, that if something like this was ever to happen, I mean, we come straight over and help out, especially with this fella.
Thank you, Claude. I knew I could rely on you.
Oh, Michael, hey, feast your eyes. Red Rover, he's going to be us and half.
One races, is he?
No, not yet, but Charlie, we're getting ready for one next week. We're going to have a right touch at a right price.
And what happens to this place now?
It all depends on Charlie's nephew, doesn't it? Lucky devil. Looks as if he's going to inherit the lot.
And you and your daughter, Mrs. Turner?
All we want is to see Mr. Weller's wishes respected, whatever they might happen to be.
Come on.
What can I do for you, officer?
It's about your uncle, Mr. Charles Weller.
Yes? What about him?
Well, it's not good news. He's had a fall and...
I knew he'd come to some grief stuck out there on his arm. How bad?
I'm sorry, Mr. Weller. Is dead.
Why, Samantha? Regina. Haven't seen you for ages. Oh. What can I get you?
A G&T, thanks, and a word with Mr. Blaketon if he's about.
What's this, council business?
Partly. I'm working for the planning committee.
So, what can I do for you, Miss Nielsen?
It's more a question of what I can do for you, Oscar.
The new will?
Yes, and it supersedes his previous will.
When did this happen?
I drew this one up on your uncle's instructions a week ago. Here are copies for each of you. As you'll see from the main provisions, Mrs. Turner is Mr. Weller's main beneficiary.
No, this can't happen.
I'm sorry, apart from a few minor bequests, your uncle's property goes to Mrs. Turner. Mrs. Turner and I have also been named as executors of his estate.
What about me? I'm his nephew.
You inherit some items of family interest.
I've heard about your support for the proposed new industrial estate at Haleby.
Yes, well, the council are all for it.
What would you say if there were an even better site closer to Aidensfield?
A site for a new industrial estate close to Aidensfield would go down well.
A real crowd pleaser, I'd have thought, Oscar, as far as your local constituents are concerned. The question is, will you persuade your colleagues to support an Aidensfield location for this scheme?
I'll certainly think about it.
Exactly what I'd hoped he'd say.
How much more of this money do you want me to shift, Mr.
As
Greengrass?
much as you can find. Don't forget, stick a bit of cow dung in it, all right, and then give it a good hosing down.
Hose it down? Why?
To make it way heavier. And by the way, from now on, it's not manure, it's fertiliser.
Hello, Greengrass. Still up to your armpits in it, I see.
You still training losers?
I ride around in this. You're the one shoveling dung for a living.
We know what you're doing here, you know. And if you think you're going to get your hands on Red Rover, you got another thing coming.
With Charlie 6 foot under, that's for Mrs. Turner to say now. Where can I find her?
She's not here.
Oh, she's in the house, though.
Thank you, son.
Thank you, David. Mouth before brain, as usual.
Oh, I thought he was a friend of yours.
Who, Ray Walker? He's got no friends.
Mrs. Turner.
What brings you here?
Before he died, God rest him, Charlie and I were discussing terms for the sale of one of his horses.
Red Rover.
Right. I'm here to tell you I'll honour the bargain and take Red Rover off your hands, as a favour to Charlie.
Charlie never asked for favours. Not from you, not from anybody. You can do me a favour if you like.
Name it.
Clear off and don't come back.
Mrs. Turner, you'd do better having me as a friend than an enemy.
Are you threatening me?
I would advise you to think seriously about my offer, Mrs. Turner.
Mike, he's been asking for you.
I've got Martin Weller in my office. He's most upset about that new will his uncle made.
Well, I can't blame him for that, but what's it got to do with us?
He believes his uncle was manipulated into making it. And he doubts whether the circumstances of Charlie Weller's death were accidental.
Well, how's he come by that?
In a nutshell, did his uncle fall or was he pushed?
Pushed? By who?
The main beneficiary of the will, Mrs. Turner.
You're claiming Mrs. Turner had a relationship with your uncle?
was common knowledge in our family. The moment her husband died, she moved in on my uncle. Why else would he pay all the debts and install her into the next-door cottage?
Your uncle passed over money to Mrs. Turner?
Of course. He was a sick man. I tried to get him into a place where he'd receive proper medical care. But Peggy wouldn't have it. She wanted him under her control. And now I know why.
Bernie, it's Claude. Look, I'm at Charlie Weller's stables. Can you get over it? I've got a business proposition for you. It's in plant nourishment. No, plant, as in roses and that. It'll definitely be to your advantage. Mine and no. All right, mate. Ta-ra, ta-ra.
Were you aware that Mr. Weller named you as his sole beneficiary?
No, not till your wife told us.
Why do you think Mr. Weller left you his property?
I don't know. Maybe he wanted it to go to someone who'd respect it, not destroy it as his nephew had in mind.
Destroy it how?
He kept on at Charlie to sell it off. He never gave him a minute's peace. These questions, are they to do with Martin Weller?
Yes. You see, he alleges that you influenced Mr. Weller into changing his will and possibly caused the accident that killed him.
Me? Kill Charlie? He said that?
He also claims you and Mr. Weller had a relationship.
I looked after Charlie. It was my job. And yes, we were friends.
I mean a personal relationship, Mrs. Turner.
I know what you mean. The answer is still no. It's not me you should question. It's Martin Weller. And why he's telling these wicked lies.
Smells good.
You promised you wouldn't be late.
I know. I'm sorry, darling. But there's days of work to be done at Mr. Weller's place.
Yeah, I know. I was out there myself today. I had to ask Mrs. Turner some pretty tough questions.
Such as?
But if she and Charlie Weller had had an affair, among others.
Oh, I'm assuming she denied it.
Emphatically.
What's going on, Mike?
Martin Weller has virtually accused her of murder.
I hear you've been talking to the police about me.
I had to. No hard feelings, Peggy. But I have a right to express my concerns.
You do that to me and Lottie, with Charlie not yet cold in his grave. I always knew you were an unfeeling young man. How dare you?
We both know the truth about you and my uncle, Peggy.
Why are you doing this? Is it to set yourself up to fight the will? Well, you'll never get your hands on Charlie's property. Not if I have a say in it.
The fire officer said paraffin was used. As you can tell, it leaves a nasty smell.
It was deliberate, then.
Well, it looks like it. Did you get a good look at the intruder, Lottie?
No, it was dark and it all happened too fast.
The ale'll cost you a few bob to replace, but the horses are all right. That's the main thing.
Can you think of anyone who might want to harm you in any way?
Martin Weller hates our guts.
Yeah, Ray Walker.
Pardon?
He's the one you want.
Oh, is he?
A know-nothing owner trainer who made his money out of dodgy concrete houses and land deals.
Walker was here yesterday, wanting to buy a Red Rover. I sent him packing.
Yeah, rightly so. He's been wanting to get his hands on the Rover. If he can't have him, he'd rather see him dead. But I'll give you 6 to 4. It's Walker who's responsible for this.
Claude, is there any chance of you moving in for a while? I'm feeling vulnerable. Until the race, I'd feel much better if someone was keeping an eye on Red Rover.
Yeah, of course I will. No problem.
You know I can't pay you.
Oh, don't worry about that.
Do you know where Mr. Walker is?
Oh, easy, boy. He doesn't like men in uniform.
Mr. Walker?
Try the office.
Well, I have.
Must be his building yard. Then.
Well, he's not. I've just come from there. Look, when did you last see him?
Yesterday evening. Is there anything I should mention? If I see him first, like.
Well, ask him, drop by Ashfield Police Station. It's quite important.
And my love is never gonna die. Remember, oh Samantha, I'm a one gal guy. And together.
Remember me, Samantha?
Oscar, what are you doing here?
Well, is that the best you can do for a visiting counsellor?
No, of course. Please, sit down.
It's about the conversation we had the other day. I think I've got some good news for you, Samantha.
Just what I like to hear.
Yes, I've had words with my colleagues on the council, and I think they'll be more than happy to have a new industrial estate close to Aidensfield.
I'm about to recommend the application for outline planning permission.
Oh, so you know the location and the name of the developers.
Don't tempt me, Oscar. You're an elected official and I'm a full-time professional planner. And a breach of confidence would be professional suicide.
So.
Excuse me. Samantha Nielsen? Well, who's it from? No, I'll pick it up myself. I've got to pick up a special delivery at reception.
Well, I can wait if you still think you need my support.
Yes, of course. I won't be long. I'm sorry about that. Now, where were we?
Mr. Weller should have got himself a new accountant.
Didn't use one.
He was drawing out cash on a regular basis. Fairly large sums every 2 months or so. Any idea what it was for, Peggy?
No, none at all.
You dragged me all the way here to look at a pile of manure.
Look, Bernie, don't say out until
I can't. I'm lost for words.
Here's the deal. We package this in them bags and we sell it on your forecourt.
What's in it for me?
Well, apart from the percentage on sales and the fact that you can use a bit of the product when you need it, when me and Peggy have a winner, we'll let you in on it.
What about me?
What are you? Oh, I'm thinking that I'm going to promote you, David. You're going to be collections manager.
Well, I'd love to know where all that cash went. For the past 2 years, he drew out hefty cash sums. Every few months, regular as clockwork.
Living expenses?
No, he paid for everything by cheque.
What, so there's absolutely no record of where the money went or what for?
None.
I think you should talk to Peggy. Charlie hated visiting banks. She always cashed his cheques for him.
Right. Thanks, Maggie.
And how many staff does Rockwell Associates presently employ? Thank you. Question F. Does your company intend to employ more staff in the future? Oh, business must be picking up then. And this is the last question, if I can read my own writing, that is. How does Rockwell Associates estimate the commercial viability of their proposed new industrial estate at Aidensfield? Sorry? Well, it's one of the questions on my survey. Well, I don't know who put it there. Oh, well, thank you too.
Well, what'd they say?
Well, he went spare when I mentioned Aidensfield. And you knew it, didn't you?
Well, I just hoped he would get a response.
What are you playing at, Oscar?
I'm encouraging you to do your public duty.
Oh, and that includes getting me to ring up people on false pretences, does it?
Gina, you're a ratepayer. You're just protecting your interests.
Oh, and how is it doing that?
By helping me to track down the whiff of council corruption.
Well, I've tried everywhere where he should be. Still no Walker, Sarge.
What do we know about Walker?
He's a crooked builder, a thug, a bent trainer, and we can't pin anything on him.
He seems dead keen to get his hands on Charlie Weller's racehorse, Sarge, and he knows his way around the Weller farm.
We appear to be dealing with two separate crimes. Walker might be the man we want for arson, but Mrs. Turner, I find it hard to believe we're dealing with murder here.
Well, according to Jackie, Charlie Weller had withdrawn substantial sums of money in cash from his bank. It was over and above what he needed for living expenses. And no one knows why or what became of it, Sarge.
Not even Mrs. Turner?
Well, at first, she claimed not to know anything about it. But I've since learned that Peggy Turner lied. She cashed every single one of those checks at the bank.
I haven't managed to sort his clothes out yet.
I am sorry, Peggy.
He was a good man. No one could have done better by me and Lottie. You won't mind if I leave you to do this room alone.
Don't forget, when you gallop him, make sure he looks as if he's doing his best, because I've put £14 in the saddle, all right, just in case there's any nosy parkers. I wouldn't trust that Ray Walker as far as I could throw him, and I'd like to. Hey, isn't that Charlie's nephew in that car? I think you ought to have him for trespass.
I'm glad you're on our side, Claude.
I'm on anybody's side but his. Come on, don't forget what I told you, love.
Just you know why you and I will by and by no true love ways. Sometimes we'll sigh, sometimes we'll cry, and you'll know why. Just you and I know true love ways. Throughout the day, our true love way will bring us joy to share with those who read.
You again, Mr. Bradley.
Could I have a word, please, Mrs. Turner?
Come in.
Sometimes we'll sigh, sometimes we'll cry.
You admit you cashed those checks for Mr. Weller?
I don't deny it.
And did Mr. Weller tell you what the money was for?
That was his business, not mine.
You withdrew substantial sums in cash from Mr. Weller's account for almost 2 years. We need to know where that money went, Mrs. Turner.
I can't tell you what I don't know.
The allegations made against you by Martin Weller could shape up into a murder charge. Is that what you want?
Don't forget to take the lead out. All right, John.
He's arrived, Mr. Greengrass.
Good old Arthur. Remind me to send him a few bags for his rhubarb.
Oh, and I've filled up Red Rover's hay rack.
Good lad. I want to bed Gellert, worry. Hey. Ooh. What's this? It's you. He's not eating no till this. Hey, get him out. Come on, get him out. Get him out, John.
Of course, I'll have to check out your statement.
Peggy! Are you there? Look what I've just found in Rover's hay rack.
What is it?
The yew tree cuttings. They're deadly. Somebody's trying to poison him. Well, it's not unusual to find something a bit nasty in an hay bale, but that's not what's happened here.
Well, how can you be sure?
Well, use your eyes. It's fresh. It's only been cut a few hours ago.
When was the hay rack filled?
Oh, not long ago. Well, I filled that up just for went back to bagging up the rose food.
Red Rover didn't take in the poison. At least the vet thinks not. How could this happen?
It's obvious. Somebody slipped in and bunged it in Rover's rack.
Broad daylight?
Yeah, and probably under the eyes of our uniformed friend here.
We're working on it, Claude.
Oh, I'm sure you are. Look, if you won't dote about Ray Walker, it's about time your boss heard about it from me.
Jackie's sorry. What with one thing and another here.
We need to talk, Peggy. I found these upstairs.
Did you read them?
Enough to confirm they weren't part of the inventory.
Then you know about Charlie and me.
You and Charlie. Lottie and Charlie. Why he paid you that money you took out of the bank. Lottie's his child, isn't she?
Yes. Charlie and me fell in love. We were both married. We knew it were wrong, but neither one of us could change the fact of it. When I got pregnant with Lottie, I knew it were Charlie's. But my husband didn't suspect. And Charlie's wife left him anyway.
And have you never told Lottie about it?
Could I? Lottie loved the man she thought was her father. When he died 2 years ago, Charlie did everything he could. He found the cottage, the money I needed for Lottie's support. And Charlie died, naming me in his will. He did that for Lottie. For his daughter. Your husband, will you tell him?
I must, Peggy. And he'll have to inform his sergeant. But beyond that, it'll remain private. You have my word on it.
I've not come here to be fobbed off. I want a bit of action.
Yeah, we're as anxious as you to find Mr. Walker.
Yeah, looks like it, don't it? You're nearly in charge, Craddock. Why you got him out there looking for him? No wonder that Ray Walker's giving you the runaround.
You're taking my name in vain, Greengrass?
Ah, just the man. We've been looking for you.
I heard.
We wanted an account of your whereabouts over the last couple of days, Mr. Walker.
Where do you think I've been? In a health resort? I was in hospital after a car accident 2 days ago.
I see. Oh, one other question. Did you visit Charlie Weller the night he died?
Visit Charlie? He'd have had the 12 bore out if I'd shown up on his doorstep. You got the wrong man.
Thank you, Mr. Walker.
You're very welcome.
Lord?
Yeah, well...
Thanks very much for trying to stitch me up, Greengrass.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear about your accident, Ray, but it just goes to show you the pins in the doll do work.
Have your little joke. We'll see who laughs last when you show up with your nag at Wellingby.
Why don't you put your money where your chatting gear is?
50 quid says my horse finishes in front of yours.
You're on.
Well, if Walker isn't behind the attacks on the Weller place, who else can it be?
Well, there is another suspect. Someone, to quote Lottie Turner, who hates their guts. Martin Weller.
Oh, I've been thinking about him and the allegations against Mrs. Turner. It could be connected to the will, as though he's trying to discredit her chances if he contests it.
I don't see any connection between that and the attacks on the property.
Well, it only makes sense if someone was trying to drive the Turners off the place. Something Martin Weller tried to do to his uncle.
You've come here to question me about a fire and poisoning at my uncle's property.
Your feelings about the Turner family are no secret.
Oh, crime, is it? To feel you've been cheated out of your rightful inheritance.
All I need is an account of your movements.
It's not me you should be hounding. It's that Turner woman. Or have you forgotten who the victim is here?
Night of the fire.
I worked late, went home, cooked some food, and went to bed.
Is there anyone you know who can confirm this?
Yes. Me.
Obstructing the course of justice is a chargeable offence, Mr. Weller.
And how would you define failing to investigate the murder of my uncle? An act of kindness? What happened?
Someone's been whispering about the Aidensfield location.
Who? Not me, that's for sure. Well, what if they find out?
Take it easy, no one's blaming you.
Well, why did we have to meet here?
We can't risk being seen together, Martin.
I hate everything about this. I just want to be with you, Samantha.
We can't afford to be seen together. Look, we stick to the plan, right? Keep the pressure on Peggy Turner. One last push should do it.
It's all happening too fast.
Any delay will ruin it for us, Martin. Offer Peggy whatever she wants. Do whatever you can to get her off that property. And when she's gone, it'll be just you and me. Just the two of us, darling.
You're all right using Charlie's room?
Oh, yeah, look, it's no problem. I think I'll probably have to buy a toothbrush in case I want to clean my teeth.
By the way, if you want any of Charlie's clothes, they're all there. You might as well have them, because I'll only be taking them to the jumble.
Thanks, Peg. I don't think I'll ever be able to fill his boots, but I won't mind wearing one of his caps.
Oh, when you go to the races, I think you should use Charlie's car. Don't think they'll let your old lorry in owners and trainers.
You're probably right.
Hello, Peggy.
What are you doing here?
I've come to make peace.
You better come in, then.
Would you mind if I had a private word with Peggy? Strictly family business.
I'll be upstairs, Peggy.
This place wasn't right for my uncle. Nor is it for you, Peggy.
Why are you here?
I'm offering you a way out. Enough money for you, Lottie, the horses, the lot. To buy a place of your own choosing. Somewhere ideal for you to do, well, whatever it is you want to do here.
You have that kind of money to spend.
I have a partner willing to help me finance it.
The same offer you made your uncle.
We just want this thing settled, Peggy.
What happens if I say no?
Firstly, I can test the will, making public all I know. Won't be pleasant. Certainly not for Lottie.
You leave my daughter out of this.
Does she know about you and my uncle? Or the real reason why my uncle's wife left him? How do you think Lottie will cope with hearing that little number? I'll give you a day to accept my offer. If I don't hear from you, I'll be back to have a little chat with Lottie. Don't bother to show me out.
Jackie! Oh, is this out to do with what you're doing?
Where did you find this?
In one of Charlie's jacket pockets.
Well, thanks for that, Claude.
Oh, Oscar, that friend of yours called back. The one from London, Mr. Blinston.
Oh, Roger. Did he leave a message?
Yeah, the results from Company's house.
Oh, thanks.
He's a copper, isn't he?
He's an ex-police sergeant, like me, as it happens. How did you know?
Well, he talked exactly like you. Who are they?
The owners of Rockwell Associates. You know that company I got you to phone up?
Morning, Oscar. Gina. We'd like to pick your brains.
All right, then. Well, be my guest.
As part of your work on the planning committee, are you aware of any possible large-scale developments around here?
Well, let's hear what you got to say first.
This is a legal contract, an option to buy the Weller farmhouse and lands.
Well, it's not signed.
But it is dated.
Rockwell Associates.
Oh, you know them? If a deal like this went through, how much money would it fetch?
Well, with planning permission, how high can you count?
Hang on a minute. That's weird.
What is?
Well, Mr. and Mrs. Hanley, the two people who own the company. I know one of them. So do you. It's Samantha Nielsen, only she never uses a married name.
So Samantha uses her influential position on the council to get planning permission for the Weller property. Meanwhile, she and her husband are selling it off to property developers for millions. I'm going to enjoy this.
How much more is there?
About 20 quid, sir.
Smells dreadful.
No, well, it usually does.
The bags are leaking.
Don't talk, Dad. It's condensation, that.
I'm keen on having all this muck on my forecourt.
I don't know what you're worried about. You know what they say, where there's muck, there's money.
So, you deny having anything to do with the attempted poisoning of Mrs. Turner's horse?
Absolutely.
And the firing of the hay barn? Caused by paraffin, of which an empty container was found in your garage?
Of course.
And presumably you deny visiting your uncle on the night he died?
I said all I'm going to say.
You noting all this down, Bradley?
Yes, Sarge.
Excellent. Now let's turn our attention to the matter of your uncle's murder.
They seek him here, they seek him there. His clothes are loud, but never square. It will make or break him, so he's got to buy the best, 'cause he's a dedicated follower of fashion. He's a dedicated follower of fashion.
Come on, then.
We know you took this to your uncle on the night he died. It's dated. What happened? You refused to sign?
Did you kill your uncle? Because he stood between you and the fortune you hoped to make from the sale of his property?
No, that's not true.
This document proves it is.
I mean, I didn't kill him.
But you were there on the night?
Yes. He said he'd sign it. He promised. But when I took it over, he refused. We had a blazing row and...
And you killed him?
No. He was alive when I left. I swear it. Look, all I wanted was for my uncle to be living in a place where he'd be well looked after.
Are you sure it wasn't to gain control of his property and sell it on for a fortune?
Well, that wasn't my idea. You must believe me.
Whose idea was it, Mr. Weller? Samantha Nielsen?
Yes. When Charlie died, it wasn't a problem anymore. I stood to inherit, didn't I? Except, he changed his will. How could he do that to me? Samantha told me that we should start again. Put pressure on Peggy.
Pressure? Such as false allegations of murder, arson, even poisoning a racehorse?
With the horse dead, there's no way Peggy would have stayed on. She wouldn't have lost out. I offered to relocate her. This deal was a once-in-a-lifetime chance for me and Samantha to make a future together.
Samantha Nielsen denies any involvement in this.
Well, that's not true.
She claims you had an obsession about her. That you tried to impress her with wild schemes for making money from the sale of your uncle's property.
You're lying. Samantha and I are in love with each other. We planned to get married after the deal went through.
That'll come as news to her husband. Oh, you didn't know she was married? It is true. And happily, according to them.
They both own Rockwell Associates. You know, the company named in this option agreement.
And which stood to benefit most from the deal.
She's played you for a sucker, Martin.
Magnificently in second place and champion choice third. Here we go.
I hope he doesn't miss it.
Hey, where'd you pitch the outfit, Greengrass?
I didn't, and even if I did, it's got nothing to do with you.
Don't forget to bring your money round after the race, Claude.
And pigs might, Raymond.
Get your Red Rover premium grade rolls food here. Get your own food here. Bomber bass. One stop flat. That's what diabolical is, that smell. You shouldn't be selling. I'm thinking it's next to that smell. Don't blame me, see him. Absolutely. Look, if you don't like it, go and see somebody. I'm going to complain, mate. So come lovely bags of rolled food. Bomber bag.
Poor Martin. He wasn't very bright, you know.
Well, you're too clever by half.
They won't find anything to incriminate me in my office.
Oh, I know. Sergeant Craddock's been through it with a fine-tooth comb.
Thank you for arranging my invitation here. I'll return the favour one day.
But not as a council employee. You've just committed, what did you call it? Professional suicide. And as for your husband's company, just think of the fun the press will have exposing that. Samantha.
So, Charlie's death was an accident after all. His row with Martin must have brought on a heart attack.
Well, somebody ought to tell Peggy.
Well, my shift finished half an hour ago, Sarge.
Yes. Off to the races with you, Bradley. Oh, and Bradley? £1 on Red Rover for me. On the nose.
Right, Sarge.
Dark blue band. Right.
Where's Mike? He said he'd be here. Well, he better hurry up. They're going down to the start. Oh! Captain.
Hi. I'll tell you in a minute. I've just got to put a bet on.
Oh, there's Red Rover.
Where?
Red Rover, Lucia, Bellingham Boy, Pink.
Right, jockeys, line up. Under orders.
Right then. Understood, orders, and they're off. And as it raced away, it's Red Rover setting the pace, followed by Bellingham Boy, Russian Queen, Urban Urchin. And as they approach the first fence, it's Red Rover and Bellingham Boy jump together. They're all safely over. The centre field are going well. Number 3, Russian Queen.
Stand there, mate. The smell, look at it. Took all the customers off. They've got in it. You're not getting rid of it. He's getting it.
Don't worry. And as we approach the final new fence, we have Red Rover and Bellingham Boy over pretty much together, although they jumped by Urban Urchin. They approach the final fence now, and it's Bellingham Boy and Red Rover. Red Rover leads in the front then. And what a ball is that one. Now they're all safe, and as they reach the final stretch, number 12, Red Rover, number 10, Bellingham Boy. Nothing much between these two, Red Rover and Bellingham Boy. What a magnificent win from Red Rover.
Thank you, Mr. Walker. Just the 50. I don't need a tip. Next time, Greengrass. Hey, the drinks are on me. Well, some of them. Stick with your
Mr. Greengrass, the officers say you can come and help me shift it. Hey, not this way.
That way.
Come on. Oh, God.